live right now.
All right. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Um, Hi. So I am really excited that we have some folks arriving on the call, and we have some great presenters for today. I first want to welcome you to our first Fall Parent University session of this academic year. And I'm going to make a quick announcement about interpretation in Spanish. So, si usted necesita servicios de interpretación en español, por favor utilice el enlace que va a estar en el chat. Sí, lo voy a poner como announcement. So, hágale clic ahí y va a ir a la sesión de español. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We are so excited that you are here and you're able to join us live for this first session. My name is Demelsa, and let me take my mask off for a second so you can see my face. Hi. I'm the new Family Engagement Specialist here in DCPS, and my job is to serve you by listening to you and by providing any resources or information that we have available here at DCPS. So we are really excited to have you here and to talk about parent-teacher conferences and how we can make the most of it. I'm going to run through some quick housekeeping stuff before we jump into the meat of it, right? So first, let's talk about subtitles. If you need subtitles for this session, they are available in several languages. You can click in the gear item at the bottom of your screen, select captions, and then select your preferred language. We also have simultaneous interpretation available on the link that I entered in the announcement area. So if you know of anyone who needs that link, feel free to pass it along. Next, I want to talk about Microsoft Teams and like what we can do here as a group. So if you are looking forward to, we are looking forward to your questions and comments and any of your own tips that you want to share to make the most of parent-teacher conferences. And we encourage you to use the Q&A feature to share your thoughts. We also encourage you to give a thumbs up to those questions or comments that others make. And also, we'll try to respond to as many questions as possible. We might not be able to respond to individual questions or address every comment in this space. But we will try to address as many as we can. Before we jump in, I also want to cover our community agreement. We have a few community agreement items. These are to help ensure that this is a safe space for everyone. We want to make sure we are assuming best intentions. We're all here for our kids, and we are here with the best intentions to serve them. Please go hard on ideas, not on people. We want to hear your thoughts. And so we feel free to share your thoughts. We're really excited about those. And the last community agreement we have is accept non-closure. We are here to cover a lot of information on parent-teacher conferences. We don't have all of the answers. And that, if you have any other questions or anything else, we can follow up after, but accept non-closure at the end of this session. All right, the last housekeeping item is that I want to make it very clear that we believe that families are experts in their children and partners in their success. And this is why we're here, because before anything, you were your child's first teacher. And we really look forward to working with you in that partnership. And so I just want to underline, bold, highlight that we see you as an expert in your child. And that is all the housekeeping items that I had. I want to kick it off to our presenters for today. We have 3 amazing presenters, and each of them will introduce themselves. Let's start off with Ms. Green.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Green. I'm a mother of 6. I have a student that is in high school. I have 2 middle school students. I also have 2 elementary school students and a young adult. And I just want to say I'm excited to be here to share my experience and give my thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Ms. Ramble?
Hello, everybody. My name is Renee Ramble. I am a DC public school teacher. Been teaching the district for more than 15 years, middle school mostly, and I'm excited to be here as well.
Thank you, Ms. Ramble. And Brianna?
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Brianna Pitts. I'm a member of the Content and Curriculum team in the Office of Teaching and Learning here at DC Public Schools. Our team works directly with teachers to support learning in the classroom. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, team. I'm very excited to hear our presenters' thoughts. And so for today, we're going to answer the following questions. So our goal is for you to walk away with answers to these questions. What role parents and families play in their child's education? What are some of the best practices that families can use to communicate with their child's teacher? How teachers and parents and families have used best practices to advocate for their children, and how we can all prepare for parent-teacher conferences, which are coming up at the beginning of October. So Brianna will get us started by talking about what role families play in a child's education and what are some best practices families can use to communicate with their child's teacher. So Brianna?
Thank you, Demelza. Families play such an important role when it comes to student learning. You know your child best and you are their biggest advocate. We know the teacher's role in increasing student learning, but what roles do families play? Number one, communicate high expectations. Number two, monitor your child's performance. How are they doing in school? In which areas are they doing well? And where do they need more support? Number three, support learning at home. How can you make sure your child is taking what they learn in the classroom and applying it to their everyday life? Number four, guide your child's education. And number five, advocate for your child. Effective family engagement happens when educators share the information and resources that families need to play these roles well. That's why we are here. We want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be an advocate for your child because you know your child best. So let's take a moment to pause and reflect. What do you think of when you think about advocating for your child? And what are some ways that you feel yourself advocating for your child? Please feel free to share in the chat. So as families, we usually want to know what the research says, right? So according to research collected by our friends at Flamboyant, they found the following to be true. The more the relationship between family and school approaches a comprehensive, well-planned partnership, the higher the student achievement. When parents are involved in different roles throughout the school, the performance of all children in the school tends to improve, not just the children of the families who are actively involved. The key to advocating for your child's learning is establishing strong communication with your child's teacher and school. Today, we will share best practices on how to communicate with those folks. Next slide, please. So these tips will help you develop a positive relationship with your child's teacher in school so you will feel confident communicating with them in any situation, including parent-teacher conferences. Number one, help the teacher get to know your child. The more the teacher knows your child as a person, the better they can address your child's specific situation. Keep the teacher informed about your child. Anything that you think will have an impact on their performance, let the teacher know. Number two, focus on the positive. When your child is struggling in school, it's tempting to get defensive or panic. Try to avoid concentrating only on the negatives and focus on your child's strengths to offer a different perspective. Focus on solutions instead of placing blame. Number 3, remember that you want to build a partnership. So treat your child's teacher as part of your team. No one knows your child as well as you do, so if you have strategies that the teacher can use, share them, and then ask the teacher for strategies that you can use at home and do those too. Number 4, be specific. Provide details about your child's strengths and areas of growth. When you schedule a meeting, try to make sure you come prepared with questions. And number 5, make sure that you follow up. Don't look for a quick fix. We all know that change can take time. Continue to communicate and follow up with your child's teacher. There are multiple opportunities to connect with your child's teacher or school, and you should reach out to your child's school to learn details about what's available at your school, but I will provide a brief overview of those opportunities here today. The first is home visits. And teams of 2 teachers visit families in a location of their choosing and focus on getting to know the family and child. Parent-teacher conferences are meetings between families and their child's teacher to talk about your child's academic performance and experience at school. Student-led conferences are, they provide an opportunity for students, families, and teachers to discuss academic progress as well as develop a plan with action steps moving forward. Parent organizations are groups of parents and often school staff who meet regularly to support school goals and the interests of students, teachers, and parents. Local school advisory teams, or LSAT, is a group of elected and appointed members that exist to advise the principal on matters that promote high expectations and high achievements for all students, and principal chats, which are an opportunity for families to talk with principals about different topics. So those are some opportunities to communicate with your child's teachers. Again, please reach out to your child's school to see what opportunities are available there. And with that, I will turn it back over to Demelza.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you for sharing all those opportunities that families have to connect with their schools and their children's teachers. And so for today, we also have a teacher and a parent who are going to talk to us more about their experiences. More specifically, we're going to talk about what practices they use to advocate for their child, specifically during parent-teacher conferences. They are the experts in this area, and they will share their experiences. And so as Ms. Ramble and Ms. Green are sharing, think about what stands out to you. Like, does anything surprise you about the stories that they will share with us today? Is their approach similar or different from how you would have communicated during the scenarios that they will share? And did you hear anything that you would like to try during this upcoming parent-teacher conferences? So I will pass it on to Ms. Ramble.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our session today. I know we all have parent-teacher conferences coming up, so this is a perfect time to prepare for them. As a middle school teacher and as a parent as well, I know it's difficult with the middle school and high school age because you've gone from that elementary school where you've had that one teacher or in specials to communicate with to several teachers. So I highly suggest that you come prepared, just like Brianna said, with your notebook, prepared to take notes, because in the middle school age and the high school age, there are different rules for every teacher, which is overwhelming for a student, and I can imagine be overwhelming for parents as well. So I just wanted to share with you all a quick story, a positive story about a positive parent-teacher experience conference that I had just this last year during the pandemic. So I had a parent whose child before the pandemic was going through the special education services, receiving services, and was not on grade level for reading before the pandemic. So when we sat down for our parent-teacher conferences, after the student had taken a reading exam, his scores had gone way up. And it was a great to just share with the parent, like the success this child had had. And we set goals together for even more success. I think the parent-teacher conference is that time for you to meet the teachers, almost like a first date. You guys find out what your communication styles are, what you need what you need from the teacher, and the teacher tells you what their expectations are. But it really is, like Brianna said, that time for goal setting and building that partnership. Another thing is that it's not the end all be all. There's no quick fix with the parent teacher conferences. It's really a time just to be proactive in your child's education and to schedule times for you to check in with your child's teacher, set up those times with your child's teacher that they feel comfortable with and that you feel comfortable with. I think the parent teacher conference is that time to show the students that you and the parent are on the same page. I know as a teacher, after teacher conferences, parent teacher conferences, I noticed that the students, there's a shift in behavior because they know that I've communicated with their parents and we're on the same page. And that's just the best thing you could have as a partner with your child's teacher, for your students to know that you guys are together. Speaking of students, I highly recommend that your students be there for the teacher conference and not just hear about it. This is about their education, so they should be there for the goal setting and to see. I know we're in a pandemic, but if you're doing your conferences virtually, your child really should be there. And just as a parent, your child acts differently at school than they do at home sometimes. So just be open to hear who your child is when you're not there, and just build that strong connection and partnership with the teacher at the conference. So that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Ms. Rambo. Ms. Rambo will be here for Q&As in a bit. So if you have any questions for her, feel free to drop it in the Q&A now. But if you need to sit with it, we'll have more questions coming up. Next, we have Ms. Green. Ms. Green is a parent.
Hello again, everybody. So my experience was during the pandemic as well. I have a son that recently, 3 years ago, received the IEP, which means that, he became a special ed student. During the pandemic, we had just really started to work on his IEP and getting things in place for him. Once the pandemic started and we were doing distance learning, it was very difficult. He was having these meltdowns. He was having a hard time to adjust doing so much screen time. I've spoken with one of his special ed teachers because he would have to go on more screen time than his other friends. He would have his 2 special ed teachers and also his 2 mainstream teachers and anything in between like specials or whatnot. Once after we, talked to my husband, I've spoken with his teachers. They were just saying, well, just put him on there, just put him on the screen, he'll be fine. And they didn't see what I was going through at home. So, I've spoken with his special ed teacher, and she recommended that we do a group meeting, which with the whole team, and the whole team came together. So it's like a conference with everyone. We all sat down. Again, I got some pushback, and I said, well, hey, this is not working out. We have to find something else. So they insist that I do it again. We put him in front of the screen. So I put him in front of the screen again. And we were going through the same thing day after day. And some days it would just come to a point that I was just like, hey, we're not doing this today. And so which means that he was missing out on a lot of academics and he wasn't receiving any curriculum at all, which bothers me. When I spoke with the reading special ed teacher, I said, hey, this is not working out. I don't know what to do at this point, but I have some ideas. And no, I'm not a teacher, and I'm not trying to tell people how to do their job. but I do know that I'm not having a great time with this, and he's not having a great experience as well, and he's not receiving anything. And, she agreed, and I told her that I would like to get some work for home and to cut down more screen time. So once after we talked it over, she pulled the team together again, and we had another set down. Again, I got a little pushback, but then the third time came, and then I was very adamant, like, hey, I'm not doing this no more until I get what I need out of this. And then once I said that, then everybody like, okay, mom is serious, and she mean business at this point. So once after that, they came up with a solution. We decided to cut his screen time down, which he was more comfortable and he became less irritated by it. And I will work with him at home with some, hands-on work with me and him. With the teacher, with that one teacher that was advocating with me, I think was a big help. And with me just keep pushing forward, even when I was getting a lot of pushback. So that was my experience. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Green. As Ms. Green mentioned, like, you are an expert in your child, you see them, and it's okay to advocate for your child. Like, you're encouraged to do that. And parent-teacher conferences are like a really great time to have that like individual time with teachers to specifically talk about your child and to bring up what you know about your child to that space. Thank you. So next we are, before we jump into the Q&A, I want to share some resources with you that you can use to prepare for parent-teacher conferences. So right now in the Q&A section, I am dropping a link and it will come up on the screen shortly so you can see what it looks like if you're unable to click on it right now. So this link contains several parent resources that you can use for you and your child. You can go into it in detail. It has information on like curriculum. It has information on like how to advocate for your child in different spaces. Today in particular, I want to highlight two items. The first one is the family parent teacher checklist. So I'm also dropping that link in the chat. Feel free to click on it, but I also want to show you what it looks like so when you go in, you know what you're looking for. So this is what it looks like. It's a checklist that you can either take on your phone as a PDF or print it out, and it walks you through how to prepare for a parent-teacher conference to get the most out of it. I know that when the folks are registering, there are a couple of people that are like newer to having children in school, so this is a good tool to take with you. Also, if you have specific questions or want to do like specific advocacy like Ms. Green, this is a good tool to like remind you of like every like little thing that you might want to bring to the parent-teacher conferences so you don't miss anything. The other resource that I want to share with you are the parent curriculum guides. This is getting updated as we speak. Every year we go through the process of looking at what our children are learning. This is from last year, but don't worry, the new ones will be up in the next week or so. And it walks you through like what they're learning in each season and each quarter. What are some like the main ideas that they're covering in class, and then on the bottom side there is the next page, it has like how you can support that learning at home. It has like ideas for activities, like looking at specific videos, attending, like going to specific museums in the area that align to what they're learning. This is also a really good tool to take into parent-teacher conferences, so you can see like where we are in the fall and what your child is learning, and what are some activities you can try, or you can bring questions around those activities to the teacher to help accelerate your child's learning. The next resource that I want to talk about is specifically for our 12th graders. We do have a couple of high school families that registered. This one is not a specific link. This, you need to log into your Aspen parent portal if you are a parent of a 12th grader. And this is a guide for graduation for your 12th grader. It walks you through everything they need to graduate. If your child is not in 12th grade, you have this to look forward to. And in the spring, we'll launch the guide that is for 9th to 12th grade. So again, this is not available on the website, but it's specific to each child, and it's available through the parent portal in Aspen. If you don't have access to that, feel free to send a Q&A question with your name, and we can follow up with you. Great. So those are just the resources I wanted to share with you and make you aware of those before we jump into the Q&A. All right, so let's do some Q&A time. So we have some questions coming in, but we also have a few questions that parents submitted when they registered for the event. So I'm gonna get us started with one question while we look at the chat right now and like the questions that are getting entered there. So one of the questions families asked, and this is for anyone, Ms. Ramble, Ms. Green, or Brianna, what are the top 3 questions a parent should need to get answered at a parent-teacher conference?
Hey everyone, I can start. Definitely the questions regarding the communication style of the teacher. What's their mode of communication, as well as what's their policy for submitting work, and also their grading policy. And it's good to know like exactly like what I teach English, so we do things in units. It's good to, as a parent, to know exactly how the year is planned out and what you can do as a parent from home to support that teacher's work in every class.
Thank you, Ms. Ramble. Brianna or Ms. Green, do you guys want to answer this question?
Hi, yes, this is me again, Christina. I will say I agree. I think most of your main concerns, like for myself, I always ask how can I support, and knowing my child and which child it is. And I have multiple children, so every child have different needs. Like I know my high scholars, I know the ones that struggle a bit. So if I know that, there's a child that has some areas that I have concerns in, I will bring that to the table and ask them how can I support them, and is there anything that they have in place for them to support them at school as well. So that would be one of the things I would do.
Thank you. We have another question here. The question is, how can parents form a productive relationship with their child's teacher?
This is Christina again. I'll say for me, I always gravitate to the ones that talk the most. I don't know, like if I have more communication, I start there at the beginning of the school year, and then that'll be the teacher, my go-to teacher. And I have built a great relationship with teachers that way that help me with other situations with other students as well, or lead me in the right direction for other students.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Ms. Rummel, do you have any tips on how to form productive relationships between parents and teachers?
Honestly, I think that it is so important for the communication to be ongoing. So to set up a time, maybe it be a 2-week check-in or weekly check-in, whatever the teacher's comfortable with and you're comfortable with, just to check in. Another thing is be open with your teachers. If there's some resources that you need as a family, please be open, because teachers are aware of many resources in the schools or outside of schools that they can lead you in the right direction. So just be open with what you need and share that with your teacher. and just communicate often.
Thank you, Ms. Ramble. We have another question. How do I effectively convey what my child needs from her learning environment? And this could be for anyone.
Hey, everybody. I really believe in the best successful communication is like through the whole child. So if your child is having some social, emotional needs or academic needs that need to be met, once again, that communication comes in, and that's how you can be effective in meeting the needs, all of the needs of your child. Especially with the pandemic going on, there's lots of things going on. As long as you communicate with your teacher, that's the best way to start any type of effective communication about what all their needs.
Thank you, Ms. Ramble. We have a couple of questions here coming in the live Q&A. There is a question. My son's teacher uses Dojo to update us, and I love it. Are there other communication tools we can use that DCPS uses? DCPS also has varies school by school. One of the more popular ones is Remind, and for that you need to sign up on your phone. If you're unsure as to what communication tool your school is using, reach out to the school. They have that information and they can set you up. Or you can also reach out to us here and we can see who would be the best person to contact. Right, any other questions? All right. All right, great. So I don't see any other questions coming in. These were really great questions. Thank you everyone for sending your questions ahead of time or entering them in the live Q&A so one of our team members can answer them on the spot. Let's go back to the PowerPoint because I want to make sure that I cover some announcements with you so you stay abreast of what's going on here at the district. Before we jump to announcements, I just want to have a moment, hold a moment for us to reflect on what is coming up for us, right? We have parent-teacher conferences coming up, and we just covered a lot of information. So pick any of these 3 questions and think about how you may reflect on one of these questions and think about what is it that you need or what are some of the resources that we have talked today that is going to help you answer one of these questions when you go into parent-teacher conferences. Great. So again, this session is recorded, so you can always go back to this reflection into the resources and to the tips that our presenters provided as you prepare for parent-teacher conferences. Next, I want to talk about some of our other upcoming workshops. So this one is really focused on how we communicate with teachers, how we can advocate for our children, and making the most of parent-teacher conferences. And so in this upcoming month, we're going to explore different ways in which we can have take similar actions to support our children's learning. So in October, we have 2 sessions. We have one geared towards our older students and families who want to prepare their children for college. This is an overview of college resources and how to get them. DCPS does a lot to prepare students for college. And we have a plethora of resources and we want to make sure we have that. We put those resources on your hand or that you know how to get them so you can use them yourself or recommend them to someone else. In October, we also have a session on DCPS's journey to becoming a whole child-centered anti-racist district. So you can come and learn about what is it that we're doing systematically here at the district level to make sure that we're supporting the whole child. So not just focusing on their academic, but really looking at them as like in every area of their development. And in November, we have one session that is specifically on socio-emotional well-being and mental health. We're still living through a pandemic, and so this is going to be a place to check in with yourself as a parent, but also like get tips on how to check in with your child to make sure that they are doing well. And we'll talk about what to do if you need additional resources. Again, you can look up at all the sessions at our bit.ly/DCPS Parent U RSVP and be in the lookout for social media for posts around this. I also wanted to cover that we still have youth vaccinations available. DCPS has DC has like 3 youth vaccination sites right now, and there are some incentives available for youth who go in and get vaccinated. Incentives for the youth, so they can get the option of getting like AirPods or a gift card. But parents also receive an incentive. So every parent receives a $51 gift card for bringing in their child. And students are automatically entered in like a sweepstakes drawing. So that's pretty exciting. So the vaccination sites are listed there. We also are, this session is being recorded. It will be posted on our YouTube site. You can go there to look at the video. I know we had a few attendees arrive a little after we started, so you can go in and see what was at the beginning of the session. You can also follow us on social media. Our links are there. We're really active on Instagram, actually, so you can see like what we're posting there and reposting from your school. Right. And finally, I just wanted to wrap up with a quick survey. So I am actually, Sophie, could you drop the link for the survey? Thank you. We want to do we want to know what you thought of this session. We are learning from you and implementing the things that we learned. A while back, we had a family and stakeholder survey, and we learned a lot from that. And so we're implementing some of those lessons now. And so I want to know how we did in this session so we can make this better for you next time. So the link is in the chat, so please feel free to click it and complete it. It's available in English and in Spanish. Again, reminder that vaccines are available for children 12 and over. And if you have any questions or follow-up or anything, feel free to email parentu@k12.dc.gov. I look at that email, I check it every day, and I try to make sure that I get the answers that you need, even if they're like, if I have to go ask other people or whatever, like I'm here to serve you. And so I just feel free to drop an email and you'll get a response from me. Excellent. That is all I had for today. Thank you so much for presenters, and thank you so much for you for being here present. And if you're watching the recording, also thank you. Yeah, have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.